Hey guys, this is Harun Qureshi from Launchroid, and today I have a very, very special guest, Sister Zareen, who has launched a very successful business selling products that have actually become a bestseller in Holland and Barrette, which is a very famous superstore or a convenience store selling health type of products and services. So what I wanted to do today is dive into Zareen's world and really discover how this happened. Okay.
Be careful what you wish for.
So, firstly, Zareen, I just want to say thank you so much for coming out and sharing your story with us today. Where did it start off from?
Well, it's been a labour of love for the last 5.5 years, really. What happened was, 10 years ago, I had a bit of a tragedy. My daughter passed away, and she wanted to do third world development, and she'd just started university at Nottingham Trent, and she went to university for 6 weeks only. Really excited about her course, and it was international relations and third world development, and she was super excited about it, but she was basically stalked by a mental health patient and abducted and murdered sort of a few streets from our house. Just 6 weeks into her course, like I say, and it's a sort of thing that you hear about on the news, and even when I'm talking about it, it's as if I'm talking about something that I've heard or like a story. It's still surreal, and so me, my husband, and my son. Basically, we set up a charity to do Halima's work called the Halima Trust. And it was an immediate reaction, really. There was no kind of, it was almost like a natural reaction that was how we responded. And obviously we were devastated, and it's a kind of thing that's a leveler. At the time I thought I was at the peak of my career. I was a CEO of a national umbrella body and, traveling around the world and doing all sorts of things in the middle of my PhD, and, all sorts of things were happening, but everything stopped. Like for months, everything stopped, and we were just focusing on the charity.
Right.
And my son was 17 at the time, and my daughter was 19, just turned 19. And so we set up the charity, and we started, looking for projects to sort of fund to focus on our flagship project. And another charity came forward and told us that there was a place in Pakistan where there was a boys' school, but there wasn't a girls' school for orphaned and needy children, poor, from very poor homes or orphans. And there was no school for the girls. So it just kind of rang true to us, and it sounded like the sort of thing that Halima would love to do. And so we started focusing on that, and we built this school, basically. Right. It took, 3 years to build, and there are now 400 girls there, and they're thriving, and it's an amazing place. It's called the Halima School of Excellence. And it's in Wazirabad in Pakistan, and we're now building a college for those girls. But what happened was, when we built that school, at that time I was thinking, okay, it's been 3-4 years, but I need to start looking at what am I going to do, career-wise, going back to my studies and my work and that sort of thing. And I knew that whatever I did, it had to be associated with the charity. Right. It had to serve that kind of purpose. Otherwise, it wouldn't motivate me. Right. I wouldn't want to get out of bed for it, And it had to link with the charity itself. So it was actually when we inaugurated the school in April 2011, and I was in the airport lounge coming back in Lahore, And I picked up, I think it was a Time magazine, and I read this article about how women in refugee camps, they are having to tear the bottom of their abayas, their dresses, strips off their clothes to roll up and use as sanitary pads. On top of all the other things they suffer, like, they're scared to go to the toilet. They're having babies in tents, like they are, they've seen their families being killed, and now they're being forced to do totally unthinkable things, things that we can't even imagine, in exchange for food for their children. They're having to sell their bodies or their daughters or whatever, It's, things that we can't even imagine.
Yeah.
And it hit me so hard. And I, at that moment, sitting in that airport lounge, I know I visualized myself giving sanitary pads to these women.
Right.
And I knew that whatever I was going to do, it had to lead to that. And that would be the purpose of my business, whatever I set up, and I'd been thinking that I need to find a product that I'll bring to market that will generate a passive income for the charity, or it will have, it'll sort of link with a charity in some way. And so it wasn't like setting up a business and then when I make the money, I'll do some charity with it, as a CSR, corporate social responsibility thing. It started as like a triple bottom line business, people, planet, profit, and it started with the people, that I'm going to benefit from it in that way. Right. And then I've always been into kind of eco-natural products, and I knew that whatever it did, it needed to be healthy for the users as well. It needed to. It's always been a bugbear of mine. I've known that these products that I was using were full of chemicals, and I'd heard of toxic shock syndrome and all of these sorts of things, and I started researching it. And when I came back, basically, I researched it, and I was really into sort of minerals and sort of things that were emerging at that time in technology. And what is the latest technology? How can I apply it to this business? And so it was about 15, 16 months of research and development and testing of the products. Took about another 3-4 months, and then basically borrowing money and and setting up the business, and it all grew from there.
Fantastic. So the journey is an absolutely amazing journey that you've gone through. Obviously, you started off with a tragedy that I can't even comprehend what you went through. And from there, your heart directed you to really take the vision of your daughter and make it a reality as a legacy for her. And you've already achieved some amazing things. From there, few years down the line, you realize, okay, from a business perspective, you need to grow from a career perspective. And this is what you came as a vision, sitting in an airport, reading an article, which is amazing, where you got the idea from. So tell me, I understand the product, I understand, what you've developed, but, and the question I have for you is, how does this help those people that are, dealing with those problems that you've mentioned? So, I go into Holland and Barrette, or somebody goes into Holland and Barrette, they buy this. How is that helping those people?
So, as well as not having the all the harsh chemicals in them, so this is the benefit. The reason why it's called gift is because it's a gift for the users, the people who buy the product, and it's a gift for those women in refugee camps or homeless women, or the girls that go to school that can't afford pads, or university that can't afford.
So you give that to them also?
So for every pack I sell, I donate pads. That's fantastic. My promise to women. Fantastic. So in addition to, and I've donated over it's coming up to 1.2 million so far, pads.
Fantastic.
And most of that, obviously, at the beginning of a business, when you're still in the red, it's coming off your bottom line. But I knew that that was what was going to motivate my business. And what I found was that the more I did of that, the more popular my products became.
Got it.
Not because of the charity side of it, but because women were using it and talking about it. And talking, there were chats on Twitter and social media and women and these groups like endometriosis sufferers, migraine sufferers, fertility issues and all these sorts of things. And women that were talking about how, women talk, right? Women talk to each other about these things.
Right.
And, I didn't have a budget for marketing.
Right.
It grew organically.
Oh, wow.
So it's like all of the publicity and the growth has been from women talking to one another.
Amazing.
In the last 12 months, we've seen almost 400% growth in Holland and Barrette.
Wow.
And that's literally, it just kind of reached some kind of tipping point and women talking to one another. And now Holland and Barrette are expanding in their stores as well as online and into other countries as well. Yeah. So,
word of mouth is pretty much the best form of marketing there is, which is fantastic. So, jump in to tell me a bit more about Holland and Barrette. How did you manage to get your products and service into Holland and Barrette?
I did these trade shows from the first year that are really expensive, and I thought, oh gosh, is that going to help me? But I needed to try every avenue. Yeah. So there are these amazing trade shows for natural products,
right?
And one of them was the Natural and Organic Products Europe, and another one was the Allergy and Free From show. In London.
Right.
And so I did both of those shows, and it was one of those shows that the Holland and Barrette buyer came by my stand and literally saw me overwhelmed by this crowd of women and me kind of telling them about the products and women kind of grabbing them. And my display was quite eye-catching because I have a background in graphics. So I do all my own kind of displays and everything, and I design the product packaging and everything myself as well. But so that saved me a few pounds.
Yeah.
But I had this display of these sort of knickers, basically, underwear of all different shapes, like bloomers and the bikinis and the this and that, and they were all on strings, like on a washing line.
Right.
And I'd cut them out of card, made them out of card and put lace and stuff. And then I'd put a word on each one, like endometriosis or, bad odors or itchiness or soreness or, the problems that women have in their undercarriage. And basically, they, women were walking past and saying, "That's me."
Wow.
Mood swings. That's me. Or a husband would say, "Mood swings. That's you."
So it's fantastic. You literally, the marketing went direct to problems that they had, and that's where they kind of hooked in. They came in and I wanted to really discover what this is about. Yeah. So from there, you got to deal with Holland and Barrette.
Yes.
You've kind of grown and scaled from there. From what it sounds like, it's growing and scaling very, very fast. So what is the kind of future plans, future goals, future objectives? Where is this going from here?
Well, right now I'm developing a model whereby some of my customers who are they're not just customers, they are die-hard fans. They're crazy about the product. They tell everyone, and they want to help. Yeah. I have volunteers coming to me at these stands now saying, thank you so much. Can I help you at your stand? I never have to employ anybody at these stands because they're so passionate about it. Right. And I just did the Olympia show now. So and I had one poster that said protecting women's dignity on it. And that attracted so much interest. Wow. And a lot of the women that came and gave testimonials to us, that's the reason why they wanted to help. So they don't see it just as a business, because they know the reason why it exists. They feel it. And I think women want to associate with a brand when they give their pound for something, when they give their money for something. They want to know that it's they're getting more back than just the product.
Yeah.
So so it's, you know, it's not being intentional in that way.
Yeah.
I wanted a product that would do good and that would help women in crisis.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, and it's not just refugee camps, it's homeless women in the UK, it's food banks that we're supplying, schools, colleges, universities in the UK as well. And so now women are coming forward and saying, can I be involved in the business? Can I be a distributor for you? So that's the sort of thing that we're moving towards now. We're looking for kind of almost like for women to have exclusivity in their area.
Yeah.
Like a franchise,
Right.
And you know, to grow with us.
Got it.
For them to benefit as well, because if I can benefit women in that way as well, then that's another string to the gift wellness bow.
Got it. Yeah. So I just want to say, you know, congratulations on the hard work that you've put in. What I really love about what you're doing is that you're not just selling a product. You know, you're selling far more than that. You know, there's other people that sell similar products, but like you said, when somebody's putting £1 in for your product, they're understanding that they're out there changing the world. And it's not just, doing it just from a marketing perspective. This is something that is really engraved in your heart. And, you know, we can really see that based upon the life experiences that you've gone through. So amazing product, amazing story. Thank you so much for really sharing this. And for anybody that wants some more information in what you do, where do they go? Where do they find out more about your product, your service, if they wanted to become a distributor? All that information, you know, what do they do?
Giftwellness.co.uk is our main website.
Fantastic.
And if they want to nominate their school or become, one of our sort of campaigners and join in the charity side of it, then periodpoverty.uk is also our campaigning kind of arm, but you can get all the information on giftwellness.co.uk and you can contact us through that as well.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Thank you so much, and appreciate you coming and sharing that. Thank you so much for tuning in, and this is it from me, and I'll catch you next time. Haroon Qureshi from Launchroid.
To learn how to build, launch and scale your own online business, visit www.launchroid.com.